easy go.
Right guys, this is going to be my first Prestige Nightfall since the DLC, Warmind. Staying as light ready for it. So, first of all, show you what I'm using and why. Striker Titan, double pulse grenade, top tree. However, if you have Armentarium, I can't see what the problem would be with using this. And to be honest, with some of its perks, I would actually prefer it. I would like to run this, Armentarium and double pulse. But if you don't, run top tree, pulse grenade. I would suggest that you use Tower and Barricade from what I've seen and the solo, just the nature of the Nightfall itself. Use Tower and Barricade, I ended up using Rally. And that's for preference. Weapons. Better Devil's Mananin, loadout, the usual. Arc, I'm going for Arc Singe for this Nightfall, so my Mananin is Arc. And I'll be using Curtain Call as well. I did try out Warcliffe Coil, but it's not as good as I thought it would be. So yeah, I opted for just a Curtain Call. We'll be using Skull Fort to get our pulse nades back. It's also super safe that you get your health back. So I wasn't really just farming for pulse nade energy too much. Mainly at the boss I'm talking about there, but Skullfort's a really good choice. And this is just all the Prestige Leviathan gear masterwork. And for the card, to show you, no negatives. I opted for no negatives because seeing as though it's my first Prestige solo on it. So Arc Singe and Grenadier. So your pulse grenades do more damage and you get them quicker. So that's the card and the weapons in the build. So I'm with the run, so you can sparrow through so far, but once you get so far you've got to kind of jump off, as the ads will just blow your sparrow up if you try and skip. We can skip this next section of ads. You won't see me skipping much because it's such a long solo. I mean I think it's harder than Savathun's song. I do. I think this is harder than Savathun's song. Maybe not the old Prestige Timer one. Not as hard as that, but as hard as maybe a Savathun's on this type of era. So yes, you can skip all those ads. Got to be quick about it if you do. I like to double pulse that section, and I can just kill the knights easy. So this section, it can be hard work. The acolytes do hide a lot. Just trying to gain some pulse nade energy. With Grenadier, the modifier as well. Even if you're not generating pulse nade, you're getting your nades up pretty quick. I could have opted for heavyweight for increased heavy damage, but there's so many knights. The knight can dodge your rockets very easy. Like I've got a way around it. The boss is not very friendly to rockets at all. You can miss it so easy. So I thought, well, you have your pulse nade more often than not. Combine that with Skull Fort, and I think that's our best choice. So once all your acolytes are down, you can start to push up to these two mages. There's different rotations as well. So with that spawn there, sometimes there's like 5 or 6 knights. If there is, just back up and use some pulse nades on them, because they are tanky, even though they're only red bar, not orange bar. Yeah, so your goal is to kind of clear out all adds, and then you deal with the knights at the end. I didn't see that sniper there, so make sure all adds are down, because you don't want those hitting you while adds are hitting you as well. It'll just cause a wipe. I also saved pulse nades for them as well. You notice. Make sure you've got at least one saved. Be mindful on the rockets, the amount of rockets you use. I mean, there's like two major acolytes, 2 major knights, so there's 4 rockets. So you can use 4 rockets in total maximum, because you want to get into the routine of leaving each area with 6. To be honest, I could have used way more rockets, but this was one of my first solos. I don't really know the strats. I haven't watched any video really to develop anything, so I've just come in here on my own testing it.
Look at this place.
But always get into the idea of each encounter you should be leaving with as much heavy as you can. That way you're always thinking about the next stage. This section I like to pulse nade and run back, because the adds will kind of sit in your pulse nade and then the knight just get wrecked. Because if you don't have a nade for that, the knight can be troublesome. As I said, they are tanky with their shields. This section, make sure you have a nade or coming up to one. It's handy to have one for these 2 knights. But they always crouch behind that rock, so I pulse nade the rock basically. And sometimes it'll get them both, sometimes the knight will dodge. And that's worst case scenario there, if the knight goes round. If he does, you've got to kind of approach him. Because we want to kind of deal with the knights, then the acolytes in stages. We don't want to deal with everything all at once, because it's dangerous with it being prestige. These 2 knights, if you jump up on this rock, and you can just rocket them when you want. And it's a safe strategy. It's not. This isn't a speed run. There's no chance. Even if I tried to speed run it, maybe get 28 minutes or something. Like, no point. So with this section, I like to put a rocket into one of the knights and try and kill at least 3 of them. If you can get them all, then perfect. But it's not always the case, because the knight will run off. One runs off. I like to try and pulse nade the witch as he's spawning. I got kind of lucky there, so don't get stuck in a smoke like I did. At this point you just want to back right up, because you're going to have more knights with shields approaching you. So kind of forget about the wizard. Try and avoid all of attacks, because we are on arc Singe. So knights and wizards, especially knights that do arc damage, they are dangerous. This knight can be, this wizard can be annoying with rockets missing and all sorts. Those knights I mentioned earlier, I don't know where they were, but just concentrate on all the adds. There's obviously I've left a knight up. If you'd killed all knights with a super, this would be easier. You wouldn't have to deal with both. Try and get used to hip firing rockets as well, and waiting for the shield to go up like that. When the knight does a shield, he regen his health, but he's vulnerable to a rocket. If you just like aim down sights and rocket a knight, 9 times out of 10 he's going to dodge you. So try hip firing rockets, or scout them down, wait till they do their health regen, and then do it. They might be one of the most annoying elements of this Nightfall. It's like Savathun's, because Savathun's was like that. That's why you use coil. But I tried coil, wasn't very effective with it. Now try and get at least, try and leave there with 2 pulse nades and then leave. You don't need to kill all the thrall. That's where Skull Fort came in there. Don't leave with no pulse nade, because you can totally just skip it all. Try and get at least 1 or 2 shoulder charges in and then leave. This section we've got 2 mages to worry about and a load of acolytes. I like to take the closest knight first and leave the far one, because the far one won't bother you too much if you're back here. Again, I'm trying to proc his shield. I'm trying to proc that shield there, and you can either pulse nade or rocket. Don't do, like I said, don't just outright rocket. The only time, see, even there, that's a prime example. Telling you not to do, but I done it there. But sometimes he won't dodge. He dodged that time ago as well. Sometimes if you sit back far enough, he won't realise you're there. He'll sit behind a rock, and that's when you can. That's what I was trying to do. Oh, luckily he went back in my nade. And I wasn't wanting to waste too much rockets with him. That's the prime example where he's vulnerable right there. See, I left with 5, so if you can use less rockets. The thing is, you get a lot of heavy from the next room. Also as well, save a super, which you should have your super back by now. For this room, this here it's a tough room with the ogre. But I was fortunate and I got the shriekers. Basically, with this room, there's 2 different spawns. There's either ogres or the shriekers as the major. So the shriekers are by far easier to deal with. Ogres, mini ogres, they're not as easy to deal with, definitely not. At this point I'm just kind of staying back as I can, as far as I can, killing as many acolytes. I'm waiting for this knight to kind of pop around. I see that he isn't, so this is where I can super him. Because this knight's awkward, he's in the line of sight of the ogre, the main ogre in the middle of the room. Notice I just cancelled the super out, picked up the relic, because it's so important to get that relic. Because it's in the line of sight of the ogre. Can't imagine what he'd be like on Voidburn. Hence, I was thinking about doing a Night Stalker, but I don't know. It'd be pretty tough. There's 4 crystals in this room I think that you need to take down. So, killing a major knight will spawn the orb. So there's 4 knights to kill, but they come in 2 phases. So the first phase 2 knights will spawn. Once you've done that, you'll need to kill another shrieker, and then another 2 knights will spawn, which you see. I'm playing super safe in this room. It's so dangerous. The worst room in the whole Nightfall, I think. Waiting for his shield to proc, and then I can rocket him. As soon as he's dead, I was thinking the Shrieker would spawn now. Sorry. Yeah, you'll need to actually throw the orb. But once you throw the orb, the Shrieker opens when you're in close proximity. Which that's what I thought was going to happen there, but... like I say, I'm new to this just like you, so... make sure your reticle is on the crystal. I've missed the crystal before, like just slightly. The orb's kind of weird, so just make sure the reticle is on that. I was saying there'll be a Shrieker to take out, and he'll only open when you're close. He's not too dangerous at all. 1 rocket, a couple of primary shots will deal with him. Now we're on the second spawn of knights, so there'll be 2 knights spawning, 1 in that back side where I'm looking now, and 1 on the other side. This is also a dangerous part because there's 2 snipers up there, 2 orange bar snipers, and they'll hide for forever a day. so you've got to play it safe. You can come up here as well, just make sure you duck. Because the ogre can wreck you. If the ogre had seen me there while those two snipers had sniped me, I would have been dead. Try and use that as cover, as you can see. Now I didn't notice, but the knight was hanging down below there, so I could have pulse-naded better there. I was just concerned with the snipers at the top first. That's what a lot of this Nightfall I've noticed. It's more about dealing with one thing at a time rather than multiple things. It's always good when the knight enrages actually, because he can only melee you, so it makes him even more vulnerable actually. Always be conscious of ammo as well, picking up all your ammo. You need all ammo at all times. If you only had better devils and no Mananin at any point, it can be dangerous for you. Just make sure you're picking up ammo at every stage. I'm kind of waiting on my super here. Miss my pulse here, get lucky, and then super him. As soon as you've killed him, pick up the orb and run. See how certain sections where are safe and where if you're weak like that, just go behind a rock, wait for health, and then do it in stages, sort of thing. This is the last relic. Make sure you've got maybe at least one pulse nade. Even double pulse would be nice. Missed my rocket there as well, quite sloppy from me. I think it's usually 2 rockets and a pulse nade will just about kill it. I would say double pulse and 1 rocket would do it if you have double pulse available. You'll also notice as well all the adds despawn. Any adds that are still alive, once the main ogre's dead, all the rest will despawn. So only kill what's in your way. You don't have to kill absolutely everything. You're bound to come out with 6 rockets as well. There's that many mages to kill. Yeah, so that's getting to the boss. The boss room is really hard as well. I found the ogre room harder than the boss, which is weird, but the boss, it's with the striker, I mean, you can get away with a lot of stuff. But you're going to approach 4 knights again. I like to use maybe just 1 rocket and then no more. The reason I mean is because like you've kind of got full heavy or almost full heavy. Having an extra 3 bricks in the middle of the map is really good for later on in the fight when it counts. You could even use no rockets on them and just take your time scouting them down. As soon as the knights are killed, the boss will spawn immediately. At this point I'm just wanting to kind of gain speed up, gain my charge, because there's going to be a load of thrall. Notice I'm hanging around this side of the map. I've noticed this rock here and the rock to my left is the safest section for me. This is where I hang around most of the time. Once all the thrall are dead, kill all the rest of the acolytes. Make sure all the rooms clear. You don't even want 1 acolyte alive. Mainly because the boss hits very hard. There's certain points where you can... I mean, this rock isn't very good. I was trying it out. Notice it's not very good. So the safest rock is the largest one on the right side, over here. You can't be in the boss's line of sight for too long at all, so you'll see me putting shots into her. I'll pulse nade occasionally, but not too much. because we've got the boss kind of under control. It's not the boss I'm worrying about too much because I know how to avoid him. It's the ads. It's when I've got ads and the boss chasing me. So likes of that, it was a spawn of ads. I pulsated it instantly. It's less of a headache because if you let the acolytes wander off, you're gonna have to start doing rotations on the map, find them because they hide. I always like to have one pulse nade ready for the ads. You can as well use occasional rockets, but don't use too many at this very early stage. You don't want to be using too much. Just keep. Seems like a AI just seems to go back and forth if you stand over this side. So I put a couple of shots in, go back over here, then she'll go back over there. After each stage there'll be always Thrall that rush you just about whenever she goes immune like that. And what will happen is the Thrall will spawn without the rest of the ads, not at the start anyway, so I can start just killing them reliably. I've got double pulse also, and I'm getting health regen while I'm doing it. It's a quick easy way to kill them that way with Skullfork. Also the boss goes through stages, so right now he's in his shield and he won't attack you. But later on in the fight he's immune with a shield and he attacks you and he roams. So he goes in stages, so the fight slightly ramps up every time. Right now my main concern is kind of all the acolytes. I kind of leave the knights till last. As long as I hide behind rocks, the knights aren't as threatening. It's a case of kind of clearing all acolytes. I don't like any alive, to be honest. So, same mechanic as the ogre room. You've got to throw balls at the crystals to start damaging the boss again. Also, I've also noticed the balls have a timer. You can't leave them on the ground for too long, and I do not know what it is, but if you see a ball on the ground and it's safe to do so, pick it up and throw it. Because I kid you not, I was on the boss at the very last stage. I killed one knight, the ball was on the ground for maybe 3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, and it disappeared. And the game wouldn't spawn any more knights for me. So the boss was just immune, so it was a wipe. So don't let that happen. It's the only thing. Another thing as well, while you're throwing balls like this and the boss is sitting in mid, it's a good time to get ammo in the map. Also save supers for critical stages, only when it's like, okay, you need to super unless you'll die. So same as the last phase. Oh no, not this section. So on this, like, he'll just spawn ads occasionally at each phase, and the snipers in the back, so gotta be wary about those. So you're not concerned with boss damage at all, it's just ads, that's it. See, when I'm rotating, I'm very rarely going in mid. It's too dangerous, you just rotate around the outside of all the rocks. And the boss will kind of chase you. I didn't try the other side, setting it from there a lot. Just mainly because this rock and stuff. Big rock, like it on this side. As well, nades aren't too effective on her because she doesn't stand in them for too long, so I was okay to pulse nade there though because I knew that it would take me a while to get to the next phase. I imagine a hunter might be good for the farm room. We'd go on invis. Suppose if you got Grenadier. Whenever it's the solar flame on the floor like that, that's when it's the next ad phase like that. Sometimes you can kind of like head glitch her there, where she just shoots the rock and you can kill her. Always be wary of your health as well, like never kind of put yourself in a dangerous position with that boss at all. Now Widow's obviously choosing Arc Singe. This next ad phase, if I'm rightly saying so, is wizards, and you'll only ever get 2 wizards, and you won't get any more wizards in the fight. But they can be dangerous if you don't kind of kill them as safely as you can. So there you go. The boss is immune. Now I'm waiting. I know that I know where the wizard spawns, which I've kept track of, so I would definitely have your pulse nade up for this. There you go, there's the wizard. Try and spawn kill quick as you can, and then there's gonna be the thrall rushing you. So just start running, gain momentum, just keep shoulder charging them. It's a safe way to kill them, and it builds your pulse nade up. That's why this fight reminds me of Savathun's. In that sense with Thrall. You can also do this strat where you put a barricade up, they get blinded, and it makes them even easier to shoulder charge, which just see me do that more often later in the fight. So another thing I said as well, the boss ramps up in difficulty, so now the boss, he's immune in middle, he'll stay in middle, but he can still shoot you. Whereas on the first phase he was just immune and he wouldn't shoot you. And obviously there's another 2 crystals to take down. This witch is not a problem. You can scout her from a distance. As soon as you've killed the witch, it spawns in knights, so be prepared for that. Now, because we're good on ad control, the knight was kind of on his own, so we could take the knight safely. Whereas on some of the previous runs, it wasn't as easy as like that. I like this super the closer knight because he's more dangerous than the one right across the map. And just kind of scout him down. I'm kind of waiting for him to do his shield regens. Not where he goes and hides, but the actual black shield that he puts up where you can rocket them. Be wary of the boss as well, because like I said, he can shoot you on this phase even though he's just stationary in mid. There we go, that's what I was waiting for. You could totally run Nameless Midnight as well on this Nightfall. It would be probably a good idea, because we're staying back a lot. Okay, so once that knight's down, this is an opportunity for ammo. Just be careful going mid. Boss can wreck you pretty quick, even with me playing super safe. And once you're good, take down the crystal, and then we're going for the next phase. I like to pulse nade middle because there's a lot of ads spawn. It just clears out a lot. Then you'll have Thrall rushing you again, which you're going to start using Skull Fort. Number 2 snipers at the back, they are priority as well, once all the Thrall are down. And then we can start damaging the boss again. I think that's all ads down, that looks. And that there shows you, this boss isn't great for rockets at all. An arc linear would be maybe good if you put on heavy weight. I think the next phase starts at 1 bar of health, so when we get it down to like 1 bar, because we're doing each ad section as it comes, so it's kind of beneficial to not do a ton of damage on the boss, because if you do, it'll spawn all the ads in one go. It's actually good. It's actually better to take the boss fight slower, and you're killing the ads as they come rather than a whole bunch of them at the same time. At this point I'm not really wanting to use much heavy because we're coming to the end. Say that you get close, even when you play safe. I think there was ads that's just spawned in there, yeah, there was. But I kind of got punished here, like I said. Always be wary of ad spawn, and when that happens, pulse nade them as they come in. This time I forgot, and acolytes were wandering and whatnot, which just makes it more frantic, having to fight the ads and the boss. It's also a good idea to have a super for this last, I wouldn't say last ad phase, but we're coming to that. Definitely be having a super approaching where the boss's health is now. I'm trying to conserve pretty much my pulse nades, my rockets. Yeah, so when the boss is immune, there's going to be another 2 more crystals. The last 2, as you can see there. So this is gonna be quite frantic because we're gonna have the Thrall. The Knights will spawn in shortly after. So I've done a barricades, more Thrall than usual. I think there's a lot more waves of Thrall that approach you this time. And the boss is immune, so this is what I was saying about difficulty ramping up. The boss is now immune with a shield and can roam and hit you. Whereas at the start of the fight, when he was immune, that was it. He wouldn't even touch you. This is where you've got to be mindful of the Thrall, the boss. You see how there's a lot of Thrall spawns, so I think actually now thinking, This Nightfall would be good with momentum on. It might be good with momentum. So I might try that on another run on another day maybe. I thought this was a good time to super because I was getting a lot of aggro there. The boss was on me, ads were on me. Also I could snoop at a night. Now I did say about picking up relics as soon as you can, but that was a time where it wasn't a good idea to pick the relic up. So now we've just got the boss and knight. There's a couple of acolytes up, so they are a priority now for me to kill those first. Keep rotating when the boss is like that on top of you, especially on the left side. The left side, like I said, to me it's not as safe as this side that I'm on right now. So we have rockets to burn and he needs to die as soon as we can, so I use as many as I can on him. We're not concerned with boss damage too much for later on in the fight. Because attack burn, we have pulse nades, we're gonna have a super, so we'll have the boss damage. So now this is gonna be the last sort of phase. This phase, in my opinion, probably the most dangerous on this fight. Now, what you'll have now, you won't have the usual knights, you're going to have orange bar knights with shields. As far as I'm concerned, I think there's two that spawn. After you kill the two, if you leave it longer, there might be more spawn, I'm not sure. I'm sure I was on a heroic version and the knights just kept spawning, but I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on it. If in doubt, just kind of get your second, kill all lads, kill all your acolytes, and get the second orange bar pretty weak. And now we're kind of waiting for our super. Because we've used pretty much all our rockets. So the only form of DPS we have is pulse nades and a super when we get it. Never sit for too long like I did just there, like you see, can be dangerous. Yeah, that might be a strategy, just to keep the second knight alive until you kind of get your super. Or close to. Got lucky there, but we needed some luck. I'd also recommend you have at least one rocket for the last damage phase as well, depending on where you are with damage. If you have double pulse while you're at it, it'd probably be good to go. I only had one nade. So make sure your rocket's reloaded first, and then I'm going to go and super the boss. Pulse nade first, shoulder charge, then slam, shoulder charge, then slam. And she's not dead, a quick rocket. And that's that. It's a very hard solo to do, but that's my first prestige on it. If you're looking to do it, by all means try it. I wouldn't advise normal because you get no burns, you get no benefits. I would say doing prestige solos better. You don't even need extinguish on now, so prestige solo is probably the way to go. Not only you get the aura as well, so yeah. I would just give normal a pass. Just do prestige, and you can go heavyweight, arc Singe, you can do anything you want, the card's great. But anyways, that was my first, what's it called? Strange Terrain Nightfall Prestige. Okay, thank you for watching, appreciate it.